Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And aren't you all looking fantastic? This is really good. Wow. Woo. And now I'm going to get off the stage now. I'm going to show you a film. A lot more interesting, I think, than me. But anyway, look, it's really unusual for psychiatrists and mental health staff to get recognition for what we do. And it's a little bit like being a police officer. Everybody's fine when nothing happens, we don't notice us. But when something bad happens, then people hear about us. But the reality is that, especially, if you're a mental health practitioner, especially if you're a psychiatrist, that has come with years and years and years of really hard work. All the exams that we've had to do, was getting into medical school or the medical school exams, and then all the exams that you have to do whilst you're working when you're a doctor. And as well as doing the usual doctory things of exams is also the emotional toil and the emotional expenditure of working in an area that requires you not only to know your stuff, but also to be able to speak to people and be with people during the worst moments of their lives, and some of the best moments too, in a way that's far more intimate and special than you might get with other types of medicine. And today, what we are doing is we are celebrating, and it's a rare thing that we do, to celebrate and honour those people who have excelled in our field. The teams and the individuals who have done remarkable work such that we have been able to say, wow, actually, you deserve some recognition for what you do, not just going to work every day. And no, we all, we go to work every day and we know that reward. Our patients will say bye-bye to us and they'll say, I don't ever want to see you again, but thanks. And it's great, actually. We're not like the surgeons. We don't get boxes of claret at Christmas. If you're lucky, you get a Hessian bag or something. And so the reward that we get has to be from ourselves. We have to say, yeah, I think I did a good job. But today, this is about other people recognizing that you've done a good job. So I want you to enjoy yourselves. And I want you to take pleasure in the fact that you're in the room at all, because I can tell you now, the field, all the different categories, there were really, really, really strong nominations. And for some categories, we had, double figures of people being nominated. And the fact that you're here is a testament to the brilliant work that you do. And in some cases, it was so hard to separate people out that, it was literally a kind of like, oh, goodness me, it doesn't matter which team or which person won because they were all fantastic. So, it's a bit like Highlander there can only be one. However, if you're here, you are a winner. Just want to say that sincerely. Anyway, brilliant that you are here. Some people have come from across the water to be with us, and I want to say thank you for those who've come, who've had to take planes and things like that to get here. But we're going to have a really fun time this afternoon, I hope. Anyway, okay. So let's start, actually. And our first 6 presentations recognise the work done by multidisciplinary teams in working in mental health. And in these categories, the judges were looking for teams that demonstrate service development, redesign, or quality improvement with excellent leadership, teamwork, and effective use of resources. And we're going to start with the award for Psychiatric Team of the Year, Children and Adolescents. Okay, so drum roll. So the judges were looking for an exceptional team working with children and adolescents, and the award is going to be presented by Nathan Randalls, who is a medical student, but also a patient representative on our college council. Nathan. We might need to put lights up a little bit, actually, just going to say. Otherwise, people are going to fall over when they come up.
Yeah, I was trying my best not to trip up on the set. Thank you, Lade. And I'm absolutely delighted to be able to present this first award. This one's quite near and dear to my heart as well. I mean, I got my start out within the college on the child and adolescent faculty, and so this is something that's quite important to me personally. And I'd just like to say that the capacity for this particular area is immense. You can have children's lives change, and you alter the trajectory of their life for years to come. And I don't really want to say just one, but congratulations to every single nominee. And as you'd already said, Lade, there can only be one. But the nominees for this category are the Autism and Intellectual Disability Intensive Intervention Team for South London and Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust, FCAMS Northwest at Greater Manchester Mental Health NHS Foundation Trust, Lincolnshire CAMS Eating Disorder Service Team at Lincolnshire Partnership NHS Trust. And so, without further ado, the award goes to, for the Psychiatric Team of the Year for Children and Adolescents, the winner is Autism and Intellectual Disability Intensive Intervention Team, South London and NHS Foundation Trust.
So while they're picking up their awards, and I have to say I had nothing to do with this, by the way. Conflict of interest. I do work at SLAM.
I don't know whether we're allowed to say a few thanks. That's what we. Yes. So we'll be very quick.
Irene, let me tell you a little bit about you first, so everyone knows. Didn't read the script. Anyway, the AID IIT team are a Tier 4 outpatients CAMS multidisciplinary team covering the whole of London, who provide specialist support to those with a diagnosis of learning disability or autism who are at imminent risk of a CAMS inpatient admission or already admitted to a CAMS inpatient unit. And the judges were impressed with your demonstration of quality improvement and effective use of resources.
Thank you. That's exactly what's on the tin and what we do. So the first thing to say is we want to thank our team. There's some of the team here, and the team has expanded a bit. And we want to thank the young people. They are absolutely crucial to what we do and the families that we work with. And we want to thank a few of our colleagues that are not here, but have been very, very important in setting up the team. So Dr. Sarah Bernard, who got the funding with Professor Emily Simonov, and Iris Rathwale, who unfortunately isn't with us anymore, but she was very, very important in the setup of the team. We want to thank the service director that helped set up the team. These people are important to remember. So Harold Bennison, who was our previous service director, helped set up the team. And we want to thank our commissioner as well, Ian Derbyshire, who gave the money from NHS England. We're a South London partnership team now. And then we want to thank our previous chair, Norman Lamb, and our chief executive, who is stepping down, David Bradley. And the cause has been very close to the heart, both of Norman and of David. So thank you. I have to say that the team wouldn't be anything without Catherine. Catherine is my other half at work, and she's our team lead, and she's an amazing consultant, clinical psychologist.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next recognition is for Psychiatric Team of the Year, Older Age Adults. So the judges, in this case, were looking for quality teamwork that improves psychiatric services and care for older age adults. And this award is going to be presented by Dr. Sahana Ahmed, who's chair of our London division.
Clearly that lovely lady knows me well because she went, "Watch your step." It's really lovely to be here and celebrate everyone. It's especially lovely to be here and see lots of parents and other halves. And it always makes me quite emotional because it makes me think of my dad, who's not here anymore. But it's lovely, and I will try and get around to meeting as many parents as I can. I'm incredibly flattered to present this award because I sort of looked at the presenters and thought, oh God, they're really impressive. Like some of them are famous. And then I realised Derek was in the crowd presenting. And so the bar isn't quite as high as it used to be. So anyway, I am going to present the award for Psychiatric Team of the Year, Old Age Adults. This award is to recognise the role that psychiatric teams play in improving or innovating psychiatric services and care for older age teams. I'm an old age psychiatrist myself. I've worked with some incredible teams. Last Christmas, I got invited to a Christmas party, and it was the first team I'd worked for 15 years ago, which was an older age adult team. I've been clinical director for older people's mental health services, but more than anything, I've been on the other side. So my dad died 2 years ago, but had a diagnosis of dementia, and he and my family had some incredible care from the older adult mental health team, from all the professionals. So the shortlisted nominees for Royal College of Psychiatrists Team of the Year Older Age Adults are Dartford, Gravesham and Swanley Memory Assessment Service from Kent and Medway NHS and Social Care Partnership Trust, and Tees, Esk and Wear Valley's Mental Health Services for Older People's Clinical Network from Tees, Esk and Wear Valley NHS Foundation Trust. So it's like the proper Oscars. So the winner is the Tees, Esk and Wear Valley's Mental Health Services for Older People.
So the network is a trust-wide compassionate leadership group which sets the clinical standards to shape and drive the delivery of high-quality care to older adults across the footprint of the trust geography, which is very, very, very large. And the judges said, it was impressive to see the way that patients were involved from the beginning in creating the clinical model that reflects their needs and experience. And this team has been able to show a patient-centered approach and use clear pathways for improving patient care. And there's been a clear change noted in a very large geographical area. Well done, team.
Thank you, Lade, and thank you, Suhana. It's lovely to get an award from Suhana. I think last year or year before, my daughter got an award from Suhana, so it's getting better. It's in the family. So I just want to say, you have said it all, Lade. The main thing, the clinical network, which is a very large network in our footprint, we couldn't have done without all the staff, the incredible multidisciplinary team that work across the big two large care group, our colleagues, our corporate colleagues, our medical colleagues, nursing, and other allied health professionals. And I just want to dedicate this award to our previous clinical network specialty development manager, Emma Thompson, who sadly passed away a year ago. And she put the foundation for this network, and she would be proudly watching us reaching this, and I'm sure I speak for the team. And again, we made sure we brought every multidisciplinary team here as a representation. So very honored and very happy to receive the award. Thank you.
Okay. So next we've got the award for Psychiatric Team of the Year, Intellectual Disability. And again, the judges were looking for an exceptional and innovative team, this time with a focus on intellectual disability. And to present the award, we are delighted to welcome Dr. Adrian James, past president of the college and now NHS England Medical Director for Mental Health and Neurodiversity. Adrian.
Well, thanks, Lade. It's a real honour and privilege to be here today at the Royal College, my real home in my professional life. And it's fantastic to see all of you here, friends, family, supporters of those who are nominated for awards and winning awards. I think everybody here is a winner today. And a big thank you to each and every one of you, whether you're a supporter of a professional or whether you're working in services, for all the fantastic work that you do. Now, teamwork is at the centre of everything that we do, so it's a great honour to present one of the team awards for Psychiatric Team of the Year, Intellectual Disability. Now, I just already noticed that this is only the third award. They've already won one award, Intellectual Disability, so they're creeping into lots of awards. Let's see how many they can win. It's such an amazing area, so here we go. I don't have any intelligence on that, by the way. So the shortlisted nominees are a Mid-West Essex Learning Disability Psychiatric Team, Hertfordshire Partnership NHS Foundation Trust, Services for People Who Have a Learning Disability, Bedfordshire and Luton, East London NHS Foundation Trust, and Spring Centre Autism and Learning Disability Ward, Signet Hospital, Harrow. And the winner is Mid-West Essex Learning Disability Psychiatry Team, Hertfordshire Partnership.
Okay, so this psychiatry team supports people with learning disabilities in the community with complex mental disorders and challenging behaviour in Greater London and Essex. And they rehabilitate psychiatric inpatients to prevent unnecessary and prolonged hospital stays. And the judges were impressed with the team's effective use of resources and effective MDT, that's multidisciplinary team working. They successfully delivered services that were boundary-less and tailored to individual patients' needs. Over to you.
Thank you, Lade. Thank you. It's a huge honor, Adrian, to getting this award from you. Absolutely delighted, over the moon. It's a huge privilege to be here and get this award. Wanted to thank all the team members. If there is one specialty which embodies MDT, that is intellectual disability of psychiatry. So thank you. Big shout out to all the team who have helped us to get here. I also wanted to thank the trust, our medical director, who's had this foresight to develop the pathways. Always helps for their support, always helps to have a medical director from your own specialty. So that's come handy as well. So thank you, Asif. And we would like to dedicate this award to our patients. And I think we've been the clinical voice for them and the families and the incredible families and the patients we work with. And I think they're the inspiration for us. Thank you. I don't know if you wanted to say it.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so our next award is for Digital Mental Health Psychiatric Team of the Year. And this category recognises the work of teams that use digital technologies to improve their service and patient care. And of course, West Streeting would love this because digital is what the government want. All right, this award is going to be presented by Dr. Faith Ndebele, who's chair of our Digital Psychiatry Special Interest Group. Faith.
Thank you, Lovely. Afternoon, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to be here to present this award in an era where in the NHS we're actively promoting the transformation from analog to digital. Our shortlisted teams demonstrate what's possible when innovation meets compassionate care. The finalists for the Digital Mental Health Award haven't just adopted new technology, they have reimagined how mental health services can reach and support patients in the digital age. As we continue the digital journey in psychiatry, it is pioneers like these who are proving that technology, when thoughtfully implemented, doesn't distance us from patients, it brings us closer. And the result, real outcomes, real improvement in patient outcomes, staff efficiency, and quality of care. The shortlisted teams are, for digital mental health, Brent Cam's team, Central and Northwest London NHS Foundation Trust, Clinical Informatics Service, South London and Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust, and Peterborough Clozapine Virtual Ward Team, Cambridgeshire and Peterborough NHS Foundation Trust. And the winner of the Psychiatric Team of the Year, Digital Mental Health, is Peterborough.
So
The Clozapine Virtual Ward Team.
The Peterborough Clozapine Virtual Ward pioneers community-based initiation of clozapine for treatment-resistant schizophrenia. Combining wearable technology for real-time monitoring with video consultations, it delivers a hospital-equivalent care at home. And the judges said, the Peterborough Clozapine Virtual Ward project demonstrated excellent use of modern wearable technology to address a key issue in mental health care, reducing dependence on inpatient beds and improving the quality of care. And the team worked well with system partners and intentionally addressed digital exclusion in their delivery approach. And in addition, their work's been publicised in local and national media, helping to reduce the stigma around mental illness and to promote the role of technology in enabling patient care.
Thanks a lot, Lottie. And thanks to the college for the award. I haven't prepared a speech over it. I don't even remember who I should thank, but I know that definitely the team, and that's Claire and Jen, who, Jen is the virtual ward nurse. She couldn't be here. She's the person in the middle there. And we run this in collaboration with the NWOF, that's the Q Trust. Our main idea is to kind of link back, or we should be doing this together, but link back mental health and physical health together. That's absolutely crucial. I want to thank all my patients who are on clozapine and who actually it's quite under-prescribed clozapine, and that's why we wanted to kind of start this. But I want to thank all the patients. I stand here as the voice of the voiceless. Sorry. So I want to thank a huge effort from my managers, Helena and Michelle, who couldn't be here, the pharmacist, the whole pharmacy team, my university colleagues, Peter Jones, who was quite crucial in this, and Graham, and Lily, who's here, and Emilio, who is the person who has been running the clozapine clinic for ages in the south. And obviously the chief executive team, Steve, Holly. Yeah, well, did I mention Claire? Did I mention Claire? Again, yeah, Claire. Sorry. And yeah, the chief executive team, Holly and Steve and Kathy Walsh, and our medical director, Catherine Maxey as well. So I'll give it a shot. Thank you.
Okay, so actually I think I have to say that you're so right, actually. It is the voiceless that we work with. And it's absolutely crucial that we advocate for people every single day. Anyway, so our next award is Psychiatric Team of the Year, Research and Quality Improvement. And in this category, the judges were looking for an exceptional team that had made positive changes to services by using research or quality improvement approaches. And the award is going to be presented by Sally Spensley, who was one of our lay trustees until very recently.
Thank you, Lade, and good afternoon, everyone. So, during my 5-year tenure as a lay trustee of the college, my respect and admiration for all that psychiatric teams do for their patients, often under very challenging circumstances, just grew and grew. So I feel very honoured and frankly touched to be asked back to the college to present this award. This award is to recognise the pivotal role that psychiatric teams play in advancing research or making improvements in services through the use of formal quality improvement approaches. All the shortlisted teams used innovative QI or systematic review approaches to the challenges they were each tackling, and each one of them would be a very deserving winner. So many congratulations to all of the shortlisted teams, who are the Bedford Adult Community Mental Health Recovery Team, East London NHS Foundation Trust, the Brain Health Clinic, South London and Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust, and the Maudsley Advanced Treatment Service, South London and Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust. And with no further ado, the winner of Psychiatric Team of the Year, Research Quality Improvement is the Maudsley Advanced Treatment Service.
I just want to say it's not a fix. Anyway, so the Maudsley Advanced Treatment Service provides a specialised fast-track referral service for patients with complex and difficult-to-treat affective disorders, including depression and bipolar disorder. And the judges were particularly impressed by the way that the team involves and engages key stakeholders, particularly patients and carers, in the work of the centre, in identifying the research questions that are important and the quality improvement problems that need to be tackled. And also in the high quality scientific outputs, enabling the sharing and embedding of evidence-based practice, because this work has got potential to improve the management of complex mood disorders far beyond South London and to help other trusts and organisations to embed some of these innovations to improve and develop clinical care. Over to you.
Thank you very much. We really do not expect to win this. This is true. You know, you have two other great teams that deserve it, possibly even more than us. But just in case, I prepared some words. You know, so you are a little delighted to be shortlisted and then win this is really impressive. In the last 6 years, we developed the Quality Center in South London, Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust, this Maudsley Advanced Treatment Service for difficult-to-treat depression, difficult-to-treat bipolar, you know. So I think you have been developing a good approach for all these patients in South London, but not only because you are part of the National Affective Disorder Service, and so you see patients across UK. And I think we have been developing advanced treatment not only in complex psychopharmacotherapy, including anti-glutamatergic drugs, but also neurostimulation. And I'd like to thank here our SLAM directors, Professor Derek Tracy here, and Professor Matthew Hotoff from IOPPN also, and Professor Fiona Galhan that are all supporting us. All the supporters from PMOA, like Dr. Nico Funnell, Professor Tooth Chadler from our Department of Psychological Medicine, Dr. David Okai, Dr. Mudge Hussain, and above all, Professor Alan Young, that was really truly instrumental to develop this project with our research assistant, Bartek Plinska. So we would like to thank also the National Affective Disorders colleagues, you know, Professor Roland Zahn, Professor Tony Clear, Professor Paul Stokes, Professor Rina Dutta, Professor Cindy Fu, Professor Mito Mehta, Dr. Karin McReach, that also run our sister service, the Optima, and our admin, especially people, Sarah Bourne, Mrs. Carol Bell, and all across Islam and CFA and King's College London. I see here Professor Robin Murray that have been supporting South American psychiatrists like myself in the last years. Thank you very much for all this support, Professor Murray. And I would like to say final thanks for our supporters, sponsors, NHR, BRC, Welcome, Maudsley Learning, King's Health Partners, and especially thanks for Ohio College for this recognition. Thank you very much.
So we come to our final team award, and that's the award for working age adults. And in this category, the judges were looking for an outstanding team, and this time one that improves services for working age adults. And the award is going to be presented by Minister of Health for Northern Ireland, Mike Nesbitt.
Lade, thank you very much. And what a privilege to be part of such a joyous celebration of excellence. I was very keen to be here because mental health is very important to me in my work, because I come from a little part of the UK where we have a particular challenge with mental ill health. Because on top of the issues you'll find everywhere in every region and nation of the UK, layered on top of that is mental health as a legacy, a really, really toxic legacy of the 30 years of violence we inflicted upon each other in the period we so euphemistically call the Troubles. And the violence may be over, but if we go to the areas, we will see that legacy handed on generation to generation. So it is a real honor to be able to present the award to a team liaising and helping working age adults. The shortlisted nominees, and there are 3, Cameo, Cambridgeshire and Peterborough NHS Foundation Trust. First Contact Team, NHS Practitioner Health, and Kent Perinatal Mental Health Services, Kent and Medway NHS and Social Care Partnership Trust. And the winner is First Contact Team.
So the First Contact Team at NHS Practitioner Health is the clinical entry point for healthcare professionals accessing confidential mental health and addiction support across England and Scotland. And the judges said that this model of access and innovation that the First Contact Team offers is a high-impact early intervention for healthcare professionals, a uniquely underserved population. Their biopsychosocial and occupationally sensitive approach has not only delivered impressive clinical outcomes, including superior recovery rates for depression and anxiety, but has also supported NHS workforce retention. It's a high-volume, high-trust access model with significant system-level impact. I cannot tell you how important this service is. So every 3 weeks, a doctor takes their lives, and every 5 to 7 days, a nurse takes their lives. And since COVID, things have got much, much, much worse. Healthcare professionals are generally not very healthy, especially when it comes to their mental health. So we thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laddie, and thanks, everyone. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. I'm a GP, and I'm quite humbled at being the RCPsych receiving this award on behalf of the First Contact Team and those who can't be here who are part of the team. So the First Contact Team was first set up just over COVID to try and help us assess and treat the huge numbers of patients that we started to see during COVID, and it's turned out to be an amazing success. Thank you to the expertise of the team, and it's really it's a lovely team to work for because it brings together the best of general practice, mental health nursing, and psychiatry, all in one team for the benefit of our patients. So I want to say thank you and a big acknowledgement to the team, to Dr. Eleanor Cole, who'll be leaving us early next year, for all her hard work as part of the service and the First Contact Team, and to our patients, and to all my wonderful colleagues at the service. So thanks again, and thank you for the recognition.
Okay, now we're actually going to present some of our college prizes winners. And these are people who've all performed really, really well in our college exams. Basically, we're going to give awards to people who are really clever. And anyway, I'm actually going to get our Dean, Sabo Dave, to come and talk about these awards. Okay.
Wow, what an afternoon, eh? Great celebration and fantastic to see all the achievements. Thanks, Lade. So our first award is the President's Prize, and this prize is awarded to the candidate considered to achieve the best overall performance in the CASC RCPsych examinations. And the winner for Diet 1 2024, no surprise, it's on the screen, is Dr. Alexander Hanna. So, over to Alexander. And the winner for Diet 2 2024 is Dr. Felicity Cornforth. Felicity? Congratulations. The next award is the Standish Barry Prize, which is given to the Irish graduate thought by the exam subcommittee to have given the best overall performance in paper B and the CASC. And the 2024 winner is Dr. Dorothy Trevor. Congratulations. And finally, the Alexander Measy Prize, which is awarded to the international medical graduate practicing in the UK who obtains the highest number of stations passed in the CASC and the highest pass mark in paper B when completing the RCPsych examination. And the 2024 winner is Dr. Mahmoud Al-Ghandour. So congratulations to all our prize winners, and we'll now move back to presenting more awards. Over to Larry.
Okay, so next awards are more individual awards, and the next one is for Medical Student of the Year. And this award is for a medical student who's demonstrated through their academic and extracurricular performance that they've attained a level of attainment over and above that expected for their years of training. Now, I have to tell you that medical students now have to do so much to get into medical school and stay in medical school. It's not just passing your exams and getting 10 A stars and 5 A stars at A level. You also have to work at the weekends in nursing homes. And then when you do your exams, there's loads more to learn than we used to learn when we were younger. And so the fact that they're doing over and above is pretty amazing, actually, because you also got to be human. I'm not sure if these people are human, but anyway. To present this award, I'm pleased to welcome Professor Charlotte Wilson-Jones, who's a former Associate Dean for Undergraduate Psychiatry, but more importantly, is the person who has set the standard for how psychiatric training should be for the country, really, through her work at King's.
Thank you, Laddie. This is absolutely the prize I wanted to present. Medical students are our workforce of the future. And I'm really hopeful about the future because I have been involved in undergraduate psychiatry for about 30 years. And what I've seen is really positive. The change in attitude towards psychiatry and our patients in medical students has been very positive. The decrease in stigma, but also the understanding that psychiatry isn't siloed. It's part of every doctor's work, and that integration between physical and mental health. I have seen incredible medical students, and we are seeing so many more medical students choosing psychiatry, and that's extremely positive. But just as important are those students who don't choose psychiatry, but are thinking about the mental health of their patients, whatever specialty they choose. And I really think things are changing, things are positive, and things are hopeful. I meet many inspiring medical students, and I am, like Laddie, amazed how they do these things above and beyond. And today, we have 3 such inspiring medical students. The shortlisted nominees are Arian Aurora, Avani Ella, and Anne Nakamura. Let's see who's won. You're all winners, remember? And the winner is Anne Nakamura.
So Anne is actually now a foundation doctor, so she's qualified. And she's an aspiring CAMS psychiatrist. She's co-founder of a startup that aims to support the development of emotional literacy in children and young people. And the judges said, Anne is an outstanding student who brings a unique perspective to psychiatry as a researcher, musician, educator, leader, and entrepreneur. Her ability to promote healthcare innovation effectively to the public through gaming the mind and rain and shine is incredibly impressive. Well done.
Wow, okay. I was not expecting this at all, but I think I've been back in, May. So Dr. Hamilton Morin and Dr. Satcher and Shah, they reached out to me whilst I was on elective in Japan doing neuropsychiatry, that they were, and they wanted to nominate me for this. I was very surprised, and it was that's one way to wake you up first thing in the morning. But I think I've just been, throughout my time at King's, I've just been so fortunate to be surrounded by so many supportive mentors, people that I look up to, people that, I look at, I'm like, wow, I want to be like them one day. And, just I'm a foundation doctor now. I'm currently doing a rotation in colorectal surgery, which is very different. But as a medical student, I felt that, during placement, we had a lot more time to spend with patients just to really explore, how they've been feeling, what brought them into hospital. And, as a working doctor, whilst I don't have the privilege of time, I do feel that I am in a position where, we can do, lots of small things, regarding their physical health, or, just small things like, going downstairs to Costa, just getting a bit of fresh air, and, things like that and how that can make a real difference to how someone feels and, how they progress with their ongoing therapy, which is something that I'm, continuing to learn about and explore. So, thank you so much.
Okay, that's the future. I'm very pleased. Thank goodness. I'm thinking about my own health. I'm getting old. Anyway, the next award is Psychiatric Communicator of the Year. And in this category, the judges were looking for an individual or group who has challenged negative perceptions, conveyed mental health information in a creative and accessible way, and raised awareness of psychiatric issues in a positive manner. And to present this award, I'm really pleased to welcome Leah Charles King, who's a TV and radio broadcaster and an ambassador for national mental health charity Bipolar UK.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Lade, it's lovely to see you, looking exquisite. Wonderful. She's amazing, isn't she? It's so wonderful. She is, yeah. Deserve your flowers, lady. Gosh, I have to say, I've got mixed emotions being here and watching you all. I was diagnosed with bipolar 15 years ago after many years of misdiagnosis, no diagnosis, being ignored, prejudice, you name it. Apparently I was too articulate to have bipolar. That was one of those. Just gobby, that's all I was, just gobby. Anyway, the point that I'm making is I was eventually diagnosed, and I came out about, many years ago now. And for the last 7 years, I've turned my life around. I've become an ambassador for mental health charity. I do a lot behind the scenes, but more importantly for me, watching behind this, seeing the faces behind the people that I needed at the time, and seeing a new generation and a new wave, and you guys getting your props and getting your awards. This is amazing because it lets me know that behind the scenes things are changing, things have changed. I've seen the difference. So please keep up the great work that you're doing. It's amazing. And just please always remember that there's somebody like me at the end of whatever it is that you're doing. So thank you so much. Continue the great work that you're doing. Okay. So I'm here to present the Psychiatric Communicator of the Year Award, and the shortlisted nominees are Dr. Jessica Eccles. Yeah. Give her a round. Dr. Karam Sadiq. And Wakefield CAMS Eating Disorder Team, South West Yorkshire Partnership Trust. And the winner of the Psychiatric Communicator of the Year Award is Dr. Karam Sadiq.
So Dr. Sadiq is a neurodevelopmental psychiatrist and author of Explaining ADHD, 6 times TED Talk speaker, and has delivered keynotes at the UN and UNESCO about neurodiversity. And the judges said, in a landscape dominated by misunderstanding and stigma, Dr. Sadiq's communicating about neurodevelopmental conditions stood out for its accessibility, cultural humility, and humanity. His neuroaffirmative approach has directly impacted early recognition, increased self-acceptance, and reduced stigma around psychiatric diagnosis in underserved communities. Well done.
Well, a great man once said, it's almost impossible till it's done. That was Nelson Mandela. I almost did not come to the ceremony because I was supposed to fly today from Pakistan. And for some reason, I said, let me change the flight. And my wife said, well, it's your choice. What if you don't win? I said, what if I win? This is going to stay with me forever. I know that my wife is watching. Nadia Ali Khan, I love you to bits. You let me communicate. You let me do all this stuff that I do. My mom is watching in Pakistan. And I love you. You have given me a lot. And to my father, he was one of the best storytellers that I could see. Our family used to sit at night time with my uncles and we would talk about things, stories. And he was a communicator. And he taught me how to communicate. Bringing in facts, intertwined with stories, breaking it down to small bits so that everybody can understand. Past 1 year has been phenomenal. I went to the UN, I went to UNESCO, and I started a conversation about neurodiversity that has never happened before. I was invited this year again. And the TEDx talks that I do, usually it is about neurodevelopmental conditions. I did write a book, not almost, I wrote a book in 4 months about explaining ADHD. And this is something which is very close to me. I believe in going to the grassroots level and communicating it to people. I've been to Sikh gurdwaras, Hindu temples, churches, mosques, where I've communicated, and I have seen people listen. Because sometimes they do not need a label. They need to understand what is going on, and they deal with it for themselves. Well, thank you very much, Royal College of Psychiatry. Thank you for BIDA, for being there and nominating me for this award. And it's my last hurrah in NHS. I'm leaving NHS on the 13th of January.
No, don't say that.
So thank you so very much. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so the next award is for Patient Contributor of the Year, and it recognises the important contribution that patients make to developing and improving mental health services. And at the college, we have about 250, 260 employees, staff, and we also have 280 patient and carer workers who actually contract and work with us at the college, and they're embedded throughout everything that we do. So they help with all our policies, we co-design everything that we do, including our exams. So it's so important to us because basically this is why we do what we do. The judges were looking for patients who've made a positive impact on mental health services by improving the perception of mental health issues, encouraging policy changes, and contributing to the training of mental health professionals. And I am absolutely delighted that we have Mark Rowland, who's Chief Executive of the Mental Health Foundation, who's going to present this award. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Isn't this fantastic? Lade, thank you so much. We're in a world where, criticism is king. So isn't it great to have a bit of acknowledgement and recognition of good people doing fantastic work? I've got a twin brother who is a psychiatrist plugging away down in Hampshire in the Isle of Wight. He's yet to be nominated for an award, which gives me... I tell him he'll get there, I'm sure. But it's fantastic to recognise how much is happening. And I was delighted and honoured and humbled to present this award, Patient Contributor of the Year. If there's any area of health that requires patients' engagement, involvement, advocacy, we need it in mental health. We need it in psychiatry, and it takes courage. And it hasn't always been that way. And so we need patience, courage, and experience and insight to make what we do evidence-based, to improve, to innovate, and to center it around dignity of the human individual and their needs. So it gives me great honor to salute and celebrate the shortlisted nominees today, who are Dr. Sophie Allan. Well done, Sophie. Graham Morton, and the Young Adult Ambassadors of the Central and North West London NHS Foundation Trust. And the 2025 Patient Contributor of the Year, the winner is the Young Adult Ambassadors from the Central and North West London NHS Trust. Yes.
So the Young Adult Ambassadors are an expert by experience group of young people aged 16 to 25, and they work alongside the CNWL staff to contribute to the Young Adult Pathway. And the judges said, the Young Adult Ambassadors group have impressively integrated as part of the local Young Adult Pathway within their trust. Particular highlights of their work were setting up the Discovery College and developing courses tailored specifically to young adults. The fantastic energy of this project shone through each section of their application, making them worthy winners. Well done.
Hello, can you hear me? Cool. I'd like to give a big thank you to Dr. Jovanka Tormak, who put us up for the award. And she's very special to me because she was actually my caseworker when I was 15 and got referred to CAMS. And something that she does, which is amazing, is she sees what young people can bring to a service, and she lets us lead and do that. I think it's so important, not only for young people who are involved in it, but also for all of you, because that lady saved my life. But you guys save lives every day in the same way. And if you can move away from all the corporate and business side and just share your ideas and get rid of these boundaries, we can not only change lives, but we can save them. So just remember to communicate and also celebrate your own achievements, because when you have that morale and that care, you can solve any problem. But yeah.
Also, big shout out to Anna and Rashan in the audience. Hi. And a massive thanks to CNWL for just allowing us as young people to really take the reins, take the lead. You know, us as young people with our lived experience, we are essentially the lifeblood and we are the future. So just a massive thanks for letting us take the rein, letting us lead on projects, interview panels. And I almost think like we sort of serve as an example of how lived experience should be done. And yeah, I'd just like to kind of say a massive thanks for the award and kind of keep up the great work, because it really does save lives. So thank you.
I also just wanted to say that I think so often that young people are just underestimated in what we can do. And I'm just so grateful to the staff at CNWL, but specifically the Young Adult Pathway, for how they've actually integrated our voices into projects. I started being a part of this group when I was at university, and I've since gone into a career in the NHS, and I've worked at a couple of trusts, and this pathway, this young adult pathway, is just so exemplary, and I've never seen co-production or like integration of lived experience voices like it is done on the young adult pathway. And I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity to turn some of my darkest times into like meaningful contributions. So yeah, thank you.
So our next award is for Carer Contributor of the Year, and I'm going to invite our Chief Executive, Sonia Walter, to present the award.
That was a lovely speech just now, right? It was amazing. So it's a real pleasure for me today to introduce the Carer Contributor of the Year Award. I think this is a very, very special award because it celebrates the incredible people who use their personal experience as a force for positive change, and they don't always get the recognition they deserve. Care contributors, they dedicate their time and their energy not just to supporting a loved one, but also to improving mental health services for everyone. So all three of our nominees are powerful advocates and true experts by experience, and they remind us of what genuine partnership looks like. So congratulations to all three of them. And the nominees are Dr. Rekha Lodia, Eleanor O'Connell, and Janet Seal. And the winner is Dr. Rekha Lodia.
So Dr. Rekha Lodia is a respected expert and thought leader with a PhD from Loughborough University, and her work is on promoting walking for health. Drawing on lived experience, she champions mental health promotion, inclusion, and holistic well-being. And the judges said, Rekha has made a huge impact as chair of Lived Experience Action Research Group, showing impressive impact in the role by improving the perception of health issues and mental health services. Her knowledge as a QI-trained expert by experience has proved vital in addressing culture-based health inequalities in mental health settings, highlighting her unique perspective and its benefit to all.
Thank you, Laddie. Thank you for this opportunity. I've not prepared anything, not thinking that I'd win, but massive, massive thank you to a team that should be here, which is the QI team at Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Trust, and the nominee by our medical director, Fabida Weber, and Heber for doing the nominee. I was quite shocked. I'd like to first of all thank my family and my siblings and my incredible mum. My dad came into this country with lots of aspirations, but suffered from schizophrenia in the late 60s. He was really poorly. My mum couldn't speak a word of English. And at the age of 5, my elder sister at the age of 16, we became adults that day. And it's just been a real vicious circle, to be honest. But things have really changed. And to be a part of this whole new era of co-production, lived experience, and really making use of our voice is incredible. So I want to dedicate this award to my dad, who'd be looking up, who died prematurely, but it was just been incredible. I need to thank my husband, Anil, for bringing me and being here. Without his support, I would not be standing here today with my own mental health concerns. And my beautiful boys, Jeevan and Vivek, who are at home watching, I hope, in between lessons. And just want to say to each and every one of you, with every health professional I've come across, we're working together in partnership, and let's forge those partnerships. Thank you so much. And thank you to Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Trust, from Recovery College to the Expert by Experience programme, to Catherine Allen and her fantastic participation. Without these little steps, I would have not had the courage to stand here and do all the work that I have been doing. And thank you. And congratulations to all the other carers in this room. You're doing incredible work, and this is for you too. And finally, I want to thank my 5-year-old self and say you've done a grand job, and you're here. Thank you.
Cool. Powerful stuff. All right, now we turn to education, and the award is for Psychiatric Educator of the Year. And this award recognises excellence in the training of trainee psychiatrists, medical undergraduates, or medical professionals. And to present this award, we welcome Dr. Judy Anderson, Chair of the RCPsych in Northern Ireland and Vice President of the College.
Thanks, Laddie. There's envelopes have been left up here, so I could very easily lift the wrong one and read it out again. I have to say, I think this is the most important award. I can say that because I've got the microphone, can't I? But I suppose it's all about future-proofing, which is what we absolutely need to do. And really good educators are obviously invested in the development of the clinical skills of the people that they're educating, which is going to improve patient care now, but down the line. I guess really good educators, but are also thinking about the development in that person from a kind of leadership research perspective that's also going to improve treatments and services as they're delivered in the future as well. However, really excellent educators are actually involved in that person as a person and a little bit wider than just who they are as a psychiatrist. So thinking a little bit about that person's well-being, a bit about work-life balance, whatever that is. A little bit about, what makes them tick, what brings them joy, what happens outside work as well. I've had a few different educational roles, clinical educator, various TPD, now working in professional support in the Deanery back home in Northern Ireland. And it's definitely, and I suppose day-to-day interactions with our resident doctors, and it's definitely the thing that brings me the most energy, the most joy, the most hope. And I have to mention this now because of somebody else I've just spotted in the room, but one of my new lovely connections that I have made in 2025, of which there are a few, I was having an interesting conversation with this individual not too long ago, thinking about the fine line that there actually is between altruism and selfishness. That sounds like it was really deep. It wasn't really deep. I just think it's interesting that kind of the stuff that we do that actually really, really, really brings us joy in a bit of a selfish way is often about bringing good things to other people. But I am very sure that all of the people who were nominated and those who were shortlisted have purely altruistic motives for everything that they do. So, getting on with what I meant to do. That was more than 30 seconds, sorry. So the shortlisted nominees for Psychiatric Educator of the Year are Professor Reggie Alexander, Dr. Agnes Ayton, and Dr. Declan Hyland. And the winner is, how long's an exciting pause? Just get on with it, says Laddie. Okay. The winner is Dr. Agnes Ayton.
So in 2024, Dr. Ayton led the Credential in Eating Disorders, a landmark postgraduate programme delivered through a hybrid model combining online learning, mentoring, and in-person simulation. And the judges said, among several very impressive nominations, Dr. Agnes Ayton's entry stood out for her contributions at a national level. Through inclusive leadership, innovation, and national impact, Dr. Ayton has transformed psychiatric education in a high-risk field, making her an outstanding candidate for Psychiatric Educator of the Year.
Right. Well, thank you very much for the recognition. Thank you for the kind introduction. I almost didn't come because I didn't think I would get it. So I suppose if I just give you a little bit of a background of this work. So the work on the eating disorder credentialing started about 7 years ago when we did a training project with my then trainee, Ali Ibrahim, who's here, looking at the national picture of eating disorder training. And it was quite shocking that less than 2 hours across undergraduate and postgraduate training, despite that, particularly anorexia nervosa has a very high risk of mortality. So obviously there was a major gap. We, since we're very lucky to have the support of Professor Wendy Byrne, NHS England, and the college to set up the eating disorder credentialing, following what it was the GMC recommendation for closing the gap. Unfortunately, the GMC changed tack, so now we have uncertainty what will happen in the future. Hopefully the college will continue supporting us. And I'm pleased to say that altogether now we had 130 people completing the credentialing, and that's more than the existing consultant workforce. So I'm very pleased that we have been able to achieve that, and I'm extremely grateful for people supporting this work, including Ashish Kumar, who is our current chair, and the wider education team in the college, as well as the Faculty of Eating Disorder. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, our next award is for Psychiatric International Medical Graduate Champion of the Year. Now, this award recognises the efforts of an individual who has supported the cause of international medical graduates in an impactful way. The fact is that international medical graduates now make up a significant proportion of the medical workforce, and in particular, the psychiatric and GP workforce. So in the UK, about 40% of psychiatrists are actually international medical graduates, so they trained overseas. And supporting them is a really key requirement. It's one of our college priorities, because if we don't support them, then actually if you can move once, you can move again, and people will just leave. And so this award is particularly important. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Chinwe Obinwa, who's President of the Association of Black Psychiatrists UK, to present the award. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I must say, Laddie stole my thunder. I was supposed to say all those things, and she's come and said them. And anyway, I feel incredibly privileged to present this award. I'm also an international medical graduate, and I remember it's a but exciting and challenging transition, sort of working in a new healthcare setting. And when I was told I was going to present this, I thought, this is absolutely an honor. Because thinking back, 2004, I didn't think I would be in front of colleagues here presenting an award to another colleague. Right. I want us to have a bit of a suspense. The Psychiatric IMG Champion of the Year.
Chinwe, nominees first.
Oh, sorry.
On the other side of the card.
It's not.
No, not.
Oh, the nominees are?
It's on the other side of the card. It's on the card. On the other side, on the envelope.
Devon did tell me this. Sorry, Devon.
I know, it's definitely our fault. We didn't brief Chinwe, sorry.
The shortlisted nominees are Dr. Asma Javed, Dr. Anya Santosh, and Dr. Baxi Sinha. Finally, this is the exciting part. And the winner is Dr. Asma Javed.
So Dr. Asma Javed is a consultant liaison psychiatrist in the Black Country and training programme director for international medical graduates in differential attainment in the West Midlands. And she strives to enhance IMG experiences and reduce differential attainment gaps. And the judges were particularly impressed. And what stood out for with Dr. Javed was that her hands-on approach, particularly in relation to training, and they like the concept of one-to-one check-ins, and her contribution, particularly to the 23 and 24 International Congress, particularly focusing on IMG doctors, really stood out. Thank you.
Thank you, Lade. I was not expecting to get the award at all, so I'm quite surprised and shocked. I'm quite humbled to receive this award. We have come a long way, breaking barriers and building bridges, but there's still a long road ahead for us in order to ensure equity, support, and recognition for every IMG doctor in NHS and especially in psychiatry. I'm deeply grateful to my family, my husband, my children, my parents who encouraged me. They have been supportive of me at every step in my life, and especially my parents and my husband. He supported my journey in NHS. At one point, I wanted to leave NHS after 1 year of starting NHS, so he was the one who supported me. So my friends, head of school, Dr. Narula, who entrusted me, previous head of school, Dr. Greening, who entrusted me to do this job, Dr. Omatola, who nominated me for this award, and she was more hopeful than I was for this. So, yeah, and every IMG doctor in our trust, in West Midlands, there are 50% of psychiatric trainees who are international medical graduates. And I'm grateful for all of them. Together, through diversity and dedication, we can make the NHS stronger. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to celebrate some very special individuals, our 2025 President's Medal winners. So what that means is that the recipients of these medals are chosen each year by the President, that's me, and however, it's not monarch or anything. I actually have to get these names approved by the college's nominations committee, so I can't just pick my mates. Anyway, but everyone's going to get a hug when they come up anyway, friend or not. So this initiative began in 2010, and it's designed to honour and offer the college's gratitude to a small number of people who and we do this annually, they're very deserving because they've contributed to policy, public knowledge, education, and meeting the population and patient care needs in diverse and challenging circumstances. And these awards celebrate and honour people in all walks of life who've made and continue to make significant contributions to improving the lives of people with mental illness. And this year, usually only allowed to pick 7, but it was really hard. So we've got 9 people this year whose contributions in diverse fields that are relevant to mental health are truly stunning and inspiring to the profession. So I'm going to ask Sabo to come back to the stage to introduce its medal winner. And I'm going to give the medals out because they are the President's medals. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lade. So our first medal winner is my good friend, Professor Matthew Broom. Professor Matthew Broom. Walk up. He's a professor of psychiatry and youth mental health at the University of Birmingham and director of the Institute for Mental Health. Matthew has PhDs in both psychiatry, in neuroimaging and cognitive neuropsychology, and in philosophy. His research spans early psychosis, mood instability, cognitive neuropsychiatry, and the philosophy of mental health, combining empirical rigor with deep conceptual insight. His leadership at Birmingham has shaped national and international collaborations linking research, policy, and clinical practice to improve outcomes for young people experiencing mental illness. He's a leader in the field of early psychosis and in the philosophy and ethics of mental health. Matthew, if you'd like to say a few words. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sabo. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, like others, I was incredibly surprised to receive the email about this award, so thank you so much to Laddie and the college, and it's a great honour to receive the President's Medal. I think every day, like people, probably like lots of us in the audience, we feel privileged to be a psychiatrist, And I was just reflecting as I was travelling here today on what led to that choice, because there were other things I was thinking about when I was at medical school. A few things I wanted to reflect on. I remember a £10 book token my grandma gave me when I passed my A-levels. And as a bit of a nerd, I went and bought Freud's interpretation of dreams. I thought, this is quite interesting. And then people said, psychoanalysis, we don't... But anyway, I carried on. A pharmacology lecturer when I was at medical school who first introduced the concept of schizophrenia to me, and the idea of the dopamine hypothesis made me think about, is the science of this? We can think about this. And then I was delighted to see Faith Ndebele here earlier in the audience. Another important thing for me was a psychiatry elective in Zimbabwe in the mid-90s, and meeting Faith then, who was a psychiatry registrar in Harare. And then subsequently, as a medical student, the seminars at Ian Brockington, who, for those of us who trained in the Midlands, will remember as an expert in things that I'm still very interested in, psychopathology, phenomenology, and psychosis. And I guess other people who've been a major influence to me in my career have been my academic supervisors and mentors. Again, I was delighted to see Robin Murray here. I was very fortunate to work with Robin both in the Brixton Inpatient Ward and in the National Psychosis Unit, Larry Rifkin, Eric Taylor, Maria Ron, and Philip Maguire. And I guess also echoing the comments that Rajiv and Laddie made. Remember the patients we work with and how we have to represent their views and support them when nobody else does. So I was reflecting on the great privilege it's been to work with the patients and communities of, in my case, Brixton, Coventry, Oxford and Birmingham over the last 25 years. And finally, of course, a huge thanks to my mum, my wife and my kids for all their support over the years. Thank you.
Our second medal winner is the brilliant Professor Nandini Chakraborty. Nandini is a consultant in early intervention psychosis at Leicester Partnership NHS Trust and was previously Associate Dean for Equivalence at the Royal College of Psychiatrists. Trained in Kolkata at the Central Institute of Psychiatry. She later moved to the UK, achieving her RCPsych and CSER while balancing clinical work and family life. A leading advocate for fairness and transparency in the CSER process, she has shaped national guidance and supported countless psychiatrists through the route. Her clinical, educational, and international contributions reflect a deep commitment to excellence and equity in psychiatry. Congratulations, Nandini. Over to you.
Thank you, Subodh. Thank you, Lade. I think these are some of the days that make you reflect on the journey that has led here. And when I came to this country in 2003, the Royal College of Psychiatrists was this institution, this organization you saw as a pinnacle far there, and I could never have envisaged the journey that led here. If I had to name each and every person that has led to this day, I think I could keep us here for an entire week. It's a jigsaw in life that you meet people and certain conversations lead you in different directions. But if I had to pick a few people to name today, my husband, Debashish, who has been by my side for 32 years, a very, very long time, and has not got tired of me. My daughter, who calls me weird, but says she would not have me any other way. My parents, my mom, who has always made my education the priority in her life. She was known to my school teachers as Nandini's mother, that mom. But the person I would like to mention most today is my dad, who was also a doctor, and who was instrumental in pushing me into medical college. And I didn't go willingly. I went kicking and screaming, and with only psychiatry being at the end of the road that sustained me, and Debashish. The truth is that for years I did not forgive him for a very, very long time. And today is perhaps the day that I should make amends and say, you're forgiven, Dad. And wherever you are up there, I hope that if you had been here today, you'd be very, very proud of me. Thank you.
I'm sure he is, and we are all proud of you, Nandini. Our third medal winner is the very wise Dr. Mayura Deshpande. Mayura is a consultant forensic psychiatrist at Hampshire and Isle of Wight Healthcare NHS Foundation Trust. It's a bit of a mouthful, eh? How do you say that every day in Mayura? And Associate Registrar for Policy Support at the Royal College of Psychiatrists. With extensive experience across forensic services, governance, and leadership, she has been a strong advocate for evidence-based practice, workforce well-being, and professional autonomy in psychiatry. Over to you, Mayura. Congratulations.
Thank you so very much, Lade. I am deeply honored, and I would say, I don't know what to say, but actually I do know what I want to say. My family, unfortunately, haven't been able to come with me today for various reasons, but I promised my children, one of whom is almost a teenager and the other one's finished being a teenager, that I would, A, not make an Oscar-type speech, B, not fall over or sort of embarrass myself, or more importantly, them in any other way. And apparently the last few times I've spoken in public, I've incited political rebellion. So I've promised not to do that either. So I'm going to say just 2 or 3 things. Firstly, thank you very much. A bit like Dr. Adrian James said, I mean, I have many roles. Like all of you, I do other things. But actually, of all my roles, the one I value and enjoy the most are my college roles. I knew at 11 I wanted to be a psychiatrist. There was never any doubt. I did actually go and flirt with pathology for a bit, but decided that living patients were more rewarding than dead ones, as it were. Sorry. The thing, though, is that the college is a really important advocacy organization. It's a charity, it's lots of other things, but actually fundamentally at its core, it's a really important advocacy organization for our patients and their families who rely on us, for our mental health services and our profession. So all of us who are psychiatrists and who believe and work in mental health services, including the college. And actually a quick shout out to the college policy team. I'm not sure they're here, but I do most of my college work with the policy team. They do an awful lot of work behind the scenes. A lot of it is unrecognized and unseen. So thank you, guys. And the only other thing I wanted to say, I think, is this. You know, things change, structures change, governments change. You know, people come and go, politicians certainly will come and go. You know, commissioners, all of those things change. Sadly, a few things in life are probably not going to change. And one of those things is that in the future, our patients and their families will still need us to work with them, work for them, and advocate for them. So I know I said I wouldn't incite a rebellion, but you know, this is a good fight, and we must keep fighting it. So thank you all very much, and thank you, Lade.
Very inspirational, Mayura. Thank you. Our 4th medal winner is Dr. David Fernley. David has made an outstanding contribution to psychiatry through 2 decades of clinical and executive leadership. Appointed consultant forensic psychiatrist at Ashworth Hospital in 2001, he went on to serve as executive medical director at several NHS trusts and later as deputy chief executive at Lancashire and South Cumbria NHS Foundation Trust. He has also held national roles at NHS England, shaping policy for secure and forensic mental health. Named the college's inaugural Psychiatrist of the Year in 2009, he continues to practice as part-time consultant and second opinion doctor, and has recently been appointed non-executive director at Cheshire and Wirral Partnership NHS Foundation Trust. Congratulations, David.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Lade, and thank you to the college. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the college. And as a medical director, if there are any budding medical directors in the audience, it's a great career pathway. The college recognise it. It's fantastic. But you couldn't do it without the college. Training doctors, helping to select doctors, checking job descriptions. The work of the college behind the scenes is supporting all mental health services. The medical directors really value that. Secondly, I'd like to thank brilliant colleagues, inspiring colleagues, and also patients I've worked with over the years who shaped my views, and I continue to change my views, but I couldn't do the work without them. But finally, my family, my parents, my kids, one of them's a psychiatrist, others are going into medicine and nursing and teaching, fantastic. But I couldn't have done anything without my wife, Karen. We've been married 35 years. She's come with me today. She's helped me through every career change. I've always said that's an interesting job, what do you think? And she's always been very patient. She reminds me how lucky she is to be married to a psychiatrist quite frequently. I think that's a compliment, but I couldn't do it without her. And thank you very much, Ladi, for the recognition.
Thank you, David. Our fifth medal winner is Professor Nusrat Hussain, who sadly can't be here tonight, but his medal will be received by his sister, Dr. Rakshi Menon. Rakshi here? No? Okay, I'm going to read out Nusrat's citation. Nusrat holds a chair in psychiatry at the University of Manchester and is Director of Research in Global Mental Health. Trained in Pakistan and the United States, his career has been dedicated to reducing the mental health college of psychiatrists, mental health treatment gap in low and middle income countries, while also addressing cultural and ethnic disparities in the UK. His work spans culturally adapted therapies, international collaborations, and leadership across NHS and academic settings. A recipient of the WHO Prize for Academic Excellence, Professor Hussain has secured major international research funding, established mental health training and research units in multiple countries, and continues to champion equitable, evidence-based mental health care worldwide. So Rakshi's not here, right? Okay. We'll convey our congratulations to Nusrat on behalf of Lade. Our sixth medal winner is Abiola Johnson. Abiola Awojobi Johnson has worked for over 20 years as an award-winning BBC radio producer. Since 2011, she developed a career in mental health due to her own lived experience as a carer. She gained an MSc in mental health care from Queen Mary University of London in 2019, is a community befriender at the mental health charity Mind, and currently provides well-being support for young people in a school setting. She's also a trustee of Brent Carer Centre and has been a member of the Public Mental Health Implementation Center Advisory Board since autumn 2021, and has helped with our training program, the leadership program, so thank you. Alongside her rich portfolio of experience, she says her biggest achievements and inspiration are her children, 2 daughters and a son. Over to you, Abby.
Thank you. Getting old, so I need my glasses. This is in memory of my dad. I'm from Nigeria originally, and I thought, let me just do something, the Nigerian flag. I'm just going to have to go rogue slightly, though. I know we've only got 1 minute each. A lot of people have brought their teams up, and I need to bring my team up. So can my daughter and my son please come up? And my mum and my brother. Come up. While they're making their way. It seems an age ago when back in March I first learned of receiving this award, and I remain humble and honoured and a bit shocked if I'm honest, but immensely proud to see my name, Abiola Johnson, amongst the professors and the doctors, plain old me. Where's my brother? Is he too shy? Okay, that's fine. Here's my mum, my son and one of my daughters. I work in systemic family practice now, so the family is really important to me, really, really important in mental health care, approaching it from a systemic lens, so this is a testament to that. And I'm extremely grateful to Lade and the college for recognising me in this way. I remain driven by my family, here today to celebrate and support me, my mum, the spirit of my late father, my brother Tunde in the audience, my brother Ade in absentia, and of course my children, Emmy, Faye, my daughter in Manchester, and my son Jojo. And last but not least, my late younger brother, Yomi, who did experience severe mental health challenges and was taken by the hands of others. Yomi, it all began with you. Family, you each fuel and fire everything I do. You remain my inspiration and drive the desire for me to be part of the change I want to see in the world. So this award is for you. And I want to see a better world for my children, for all our children. So I'm thankful and I'm grateful to be here. And as we sit and celebrate as clients, carers, and clinicians, if we can genuinely feel that we're colleagues co-producing here at the college, then I think we're doing a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Our seventh medal winner is Dr. Elaine Lockhart. Elaine is amazing. She's dedicated her career to improving mental health services for children and young people. After studying medicine at University College Dublin and training in psychiatry in the west of Scotland, she spent over 20 years as consultant in pediatric liaison psychiatry at the Royal Hospital for Children in Glasgow, followed by work with the Learning Disability CAMS service. A former vice chair and chair of the RCPsych in Scotland Children Adolescent faculty, she went on to serve as the UK chair of the Faculty of Children and Adolescent Psychiatry, completing a term this year. She has also advised the Scottish Government on CAMS policy and holds an honorary senior lecturership at the University of Glasgow. Elaine's leadership has focused on strengthening specialist services, promoting equality and inclusion, and ensuring that the voices of young people and families remain central to mental health care. Congratulations, Elaine.
Thank you so much. It's very hard to follow all these amazing speakers and winners, as well as all the nominees in the room. But thank you so much. And it's such an honour, especially to receive it from you, Lade, because you have been championing children, young people from the outset of your presidency, building on the work of Dr. Adrian James. And it's fantastic today because we're hearing a lot about young people. And I think that that is testament to so many people's work within the college. Any work I have done has always been, any good work has always been with other people. And I would very much want to share this with children, young people, parents and carers from whom I have learned so much and continue to learn. And it's great to see people like Nathan in the audience being very grown up. It's just shocking, but who started off on our faculty executive. And also I've worked with fantastic multidisciplinary colleagues, particularly in Glasgow, who have shown me what good looks like, and I'm so grateful to them. The work in the college has been amazing. I'm absolutely astounded by the generosity of psychiatrists and college staff sharing their time and expertise in the most difficult of circumstances sometimes. And I've learned so much and I've really enjoyed it. And it would be a shout out to get involved with the college work because it's been incredibly sustaining and a real pleasure. And finally, the medal is definitely shared with my family. I'm thinking of my parents, both of whom are no longer with us. My dad was a GP and my mother was a psychiatrist, so I was never going to study medicine and I was certainly never going to do psychiatry. So here is someone who really lacks imagination, but I'm so grateful to the family I was brought up with, the education I had in Ireland, and to my own family. To our sons, who I think have been the best distraction from work, and above all to my lovely husband, who has been putting up with me for 32 years. He's been an amazing support, especially over the last few years, keeping things going while I've been gallivanting around the country. So thank you so much.
Congratulations. And so from young people right to the other end of the spectrum, our 8th medal winner is Dr. Mani Sandana Krishnan. Krish is a consultant in old age psychiatry whose leadership has transformed awareness and education on delirium. I think some of you may have followed him on social media where he is very active. And since 2014, he has led a global movement to improve understanding, prevention, and care for this condition, reaching professionals and the public alike. His work has earned numerous honors, including Psychiatric Communicator of the Year from the Royal College of Psychiatrists, Inspirational Leader of the Year from the Northeast Leadership Academy, and recognition of the BMJ Awards in 2017. He also pioneered the use of remote ECG monitoring for antipsychotic safety during the pandemic, a project that is now being expanded nationally. Through his innovation, communication, and clinical excellence, Krish continues to inspire improvement in the care of older adults and those affected by delirium. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lade. Thank you, Subodh, and thank you, college. I just wanted to start a big list, but I thought, no, we're all getting bored of that. I never became a psychiatrist. I started as a vet, and then my dad harassed me to get into medical school. Thank you, Dad. And then I became a chest physician, and then I ended up as a psychiatrist when I came to this country. So it is a journey from a small town in South India, Ramanathapuram, to Royal College. Been a big journey for me. And every moment has been an inspiring and proud moment for me. I want to thank my dad, who has inspired as a teacher to teach, and knowledge is power, and also to be kind and compassionate. And to my late mother, who is also a teacher, who has always said to be kind to everyone. And the two pillars in my life, current life, my daughter Varsha and my wife Shanti, who have been, again, Elaine mentioned about gallivanting. I have been gallivanting all over the world. And they put up with me, encouraged me, and supported me all along my journey. And Shanti being my classmate, even though we married 25 years, we know each other for more than 35 years. And my classmates in medical school, we still have inspiring friends who are continuing to challenge me and inspire me. I can't thank enough my colleagues at work, my team members, my trust, my teachers, my students, my trainees. However, most of it, my patients. They are my textbook, and they are my insight, and they are my sense check. And they have kept me going, inspiring and innovating all along my journey. I just want to finish with one note. Let's not forget, getting a medal, being all these big names, doesn't come with its own negativity. And I have been subjected to anxiety and mental health issues. And I'm more than happy to say that it's normal. And we as psychiatrists should be able to make sure. I'm so pleased that First Contact won the award. We need to look after ourselves. So one thing I have learned, and I want to share with everyone, is whatever you do, success will come, but don't forget to look after yourself and be kind to yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Krish. Great message there, and thanks for sharing about yourself. Our ninth and final award is for the indefatigable Professor Amar Shah. I'm sure many of you know him. Welcome, Amar. Amar is Chief Quality Officer at East London NHS Foundation Trust and a consultant forensic psychiatrist. Over the past decade, he has led the Trust's quality improvement strategy, embedding systems and infrastructures that have contributed to consistently outstanding organizational performance. He's the first National Clinical Director for Improvement at NHS England, applying quality improvement across health and care nationally, and serves as the Mental Health Improvement Lead at the Royal College of Psychiatrists, overseeing collaboratives on workforce well-being, restrictive practice, and equalities. An honorary professor at the University of York, chair of the Institute for Healthcare Improvement Scientific Advisory Group, and internationally recognized educator and speaker. Amar was awarded an MBE in 2024 for services to healthcare improvement. Well done, Amar. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Lade and Subodh. 15 years ago, there were very real questions about whether quality improvement could even be applicable or appropriate in the world of mental health. How could an approach that comes from the car industry have any relevance in a world that's all about relationships and compassion? Fast forward to today, and it's incredible to see the breadth and the scale of quality improvement work in the world of mental health. Some of the very best, some of the most impressive, some of the largest scale quality improvement work in the country, in fact in the world, occurs in the field of mental health now. It's been a real privilege to play a small role in the growth of this over the last 15 years, in a trust at the college and now outside the realms of mental health across the whole of England's health and care system. Thank you to the college under the leadership of Lade and Adrian for supporting Tom Ayres and myself to create a quality improvement function within the college, which has led work on important areas like restrictive practice, sexual safety, equity, workforce well-being, and culture of care. But the real thanks needs to go to the clinicians, the service users, the carers, the staff, who have brought their lived experience, their wisdom, and their creativity and used the root of QI to make care better. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all our President's Medal winners. Great list, Lade. That was like, I can see why your job was very hard. Congratulations. Let's give them a final round of applause. Over to you, Lade.
Okay, so this is our final group of awards, and this includes the coveted Psychiatrist of the Year award. Woo. Anyway, we're going to start with Core Psychiatric Resident Doctor of the Year. And I have to say, having been in the position of being a nominee for, not for this one, but, you know, for one of these individual awards, you are probably sitting here now with your palms sweating. Anyway, let's get on with it. So here, the judges were looking for exceptional achievement in clinical performance and practice well above that expected at this grade. And I'm going to introduce, welcome back to the stage. You should have stayed on the stage, actually. Anyway, our Dean, Subodh Dave, who's going to present this award.
Thanks, Lade. And it's a real delight to present this particular award. I think all the psychiatrists in the room will remember their core training days. I think it's a great job being a core resident. And it's a tough job, but it's also exciting, right? You're joining psychiatry and you're full of curiosity and exploration of the wonderful world, the psychological, biological, and the social world that psychiatry is. And I remember those days. So it's a real pleasure. And we've got 3 great nominees today. And the nominees are Dr. Laura Convertino, Dr. Stephen Knowles, and Dr. Suraya Melike Topariak. And I'm delighted to announce that the Core Psychiatric Resident Doctor of the Year, the winner is Dr. Stephen Knowles.
So Dr. Stephen Knowles is a National Institute of Health Research Academic Clinical Fellow in Psychiatry at the Brighton and Sussex Medical School. And as a CT1, he launched the world's first brain imaging study assessing how chemsex affects brain structure and function. The judges said, what stood out most in Stephen's nomination was the exceptional breadth of his contributions spanning clinical excellence, national policy, research, and education, all grounded in a clear commitment to equity and evidence-based care. Dr. Knowles is clearly an exceptionally hardworking and talented psychiatrist in training and has a very bright future ahead of him.
Thank you so much to the college, and congratulations to the other nominees. I'm excited to meet you and talk to you and hopefully learn from you about the amazing stuff that you've been working on as well. I think, first of all, I have to thank my amazing sister, who is sat crying at the back. She narrowly beat me to being the first person in my family to get into university and showed me that people from our towns, our kind of backgrounds, can end up in places like this and win prizes like this. I also have to thank my awe-inspiring powerhouse of a mum who, when I came home from school one day and told her that I wanted to be a doctor and that was my dream, made that her dream too. And since that day, her and my stepfather, Andy, have helped me to achieve any success that I have, and any success that I do have is their success too. I'm incredibly grateful. I also need to thank my amazing supervisors, Jess Eccles, who's in the room, James Stone, and Jane McNulty, who came together to nominate me for this. I moved to Brighton last year to start researching this issue of chemsex, which is an emerging public health issue, and it would have been very easy for people to kind of make that fringe and not support me in doing that, and I've been nothing but supported since I got there. And I guess just to close, whilst I had an incredibly supportive family and do have an incredibly supportive family, for the vibrant and beautiful LGBT community, which I'm proud to be a part of, that isn't always the case for everyone, and that's particularly not the case for lots of trans and non-binary people. So in accepting this award, I want to reiterate my commitment to being as inclusive a psychiatrist as possible, to making sure that whoever you are or wherever you come from, you feel welcome accessing psychiatric services, and to continue to make psychiatry modernise and improve. Thank you so much.
So we're now going to move to the award for Higher Psychiatric Resident Doctor of the Year. And once again, the judges were looking for evidence of skill as an innovator, scholar, researcher, clinician, educator, and leader. And to present the award, I'm very pleased to welcome Dr. Abdul Rauf, who's Associate Dean for Advanced Learning and Conferences.
Thank you, Lade. I think I'm sure all of you should agree that usually we are told that if you're having any function, we should have a break after 40 minutes or of an hour. I'm aware that we didn't have any break, but I could see the real energy in the room. I know that what is keeps that going, these amazing stories we hear about the incredible achievements of our colleagues, experts by experience, our staff, teams, all happening across the country. And that's what really the energy in this room. I really need to acknowledge that. I'm particularly delighted to present this award, the Higher Psychiatry Resident of the Year. I think Julie said her award was the best one. I'm sure I would say this is the most important one. Because, as Subodh said, after 3 years of really intensive training and the rotational training and going through all the exams, when you become the higher resident doctor, and that is when you're really developing into a true leaders of our future leaders of our profession, to really champion for the best care for our patients. And also, I'm sure all of you would agree, during an incredibly difficult and crucial period in their personal life, to balancing that life and taking on those additional responsibility and developing and specializing in this chosen area of specialty, that's incredible. So across the country, as we speak, there are thousands, hundreds of resident doctors keeping the services going in the front line of NHS. I really want to acknowledge their contribution. They don't really get that acknowledgement often. All of them are winners. All of them are real winners, as Lade said right at the beginning. And again, all of you in the room are winners. But the fortunate 3 who are nominated for this award are, let me just get my list. I'm sure I want to make it, I'm reading the right names. They are Dr. Kim Kendall, Dr. Mutahira Qureshi, and Dr. Ashley Shekhar. And the winner is Dr. Ashley Shekhar.
So Asile is a clinical research fellow studying emotional dysregulation in young people accessing CAMS, that's Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services. She also works with national and international psychiatric organisations to support the professional development and academic engagement of trainee and early career psychiatrists. The judges said, Asile is a well-rounded, outstanding higher trainee. She excels clinically as a leader, an educator, and a researcher who gives opportunity for her fellow colleagues to excel, including founding the International Journal of Psychiatry.
Thank you so much. I really wasn't expecting this, so I have no speech whatsoever prepared. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Royal College, obviously, for this amazing honour, and also congratulate Kim and Mutahira. I was in great company in the shortlist. And obviously, I'd like to thank my supervisor for the nomination and my amazing colleagues and friends who supported this journey throughout and who's made all these things possible, really, that they've that Lale was so kindly talked about. And yeah, obviously, I'd like to thank the young people and parents I've had the privilege to work with and learn so much from, and my amazing family who've been so great. I would, on a sentimental note, I would probably like to dedicate this award to my amazing mum, who actually was the first person who told me that I should go into psychiatry, and who quite recently lost her dad, my dear grandfather. So I hope this might cheer her up at least a little bit, and thanks again.
So our next 2 awards shine a light on academic research. And we don't often hear about it so much these days, which is a real travesty, because without research, we don't progress. And this is absolutely key, particularly in mental health care, where probably we're a bit behind our other medical colleagues. So, first award is Early Career Academic Researcher of the Year. And this award recognises skill as a scholar, a researcher, and outstanding research contribution, and evidence of current and potential impact in those at an early career grade level. And this award is going to be presented by Professor Derek Tracy, who's the Chief Medical Officer of the South London and Morsey NHS Foundation Trust, and Adjunct Professor at King's College London.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I spent this morning going around some of our community services in Lewisham in South London, and it was an important recalibration, just thinking about the stresses that folk are under, that we're all under in the NHS at the moment. We have estates that often aren't fit for purpose. I had people trying to get a desk to sit down so they could do work, and caseloads that just go up and up and up. It's tough out there at the moment. And it's really important because of that, we also step back and we think about what matters, what's important, and to recognise folk who in that environment continue to go above and beyond. That's the people in the room, so congratulations for being here. This award, as Lade mentioned, recognises early career research, which is critical. If we're going to get our way through this, there's something about how we work together, and there's something about thinking about next generation of treatments and interventions and translating research into practice. So the shortlisted nominees for Early Career Academic Research of the Year: Dr. Angharad de Cates, Dr. Casey Marek, and Dr. Emmanuel Asima. And the winner is Dr. Emmanuel Asima.
So Emanuele is an assistant research professor at the Department of Psychiatry in Cambridge, and is a psychiatrist who specialises in psychosis and depression research. And the panel were particularly impressed by Dr. Osimo's innovative research exploring the interplay between serious mental illness and physical health, as well as by his work developing and validating a new risk calculator.
Thank you very much, and thanks to the college for awarding the prize. I'm very honoured, and I really didn't expect this. So again, I haven't prepared a speech, but I'll be very brief. And I just wanted to congratulate the other shortlisted candidates who are at least as good as me, and just acknowledge that we are all standing on the shoulders of giants. And I have to say that one thing that I've learned doing some research is that in research, as in clinical practice, what I've learned is that the only thing that really counts is having good mentors and having people who can guide you and support you. And I'm very privileged to have had such people on my path. And I would like to thank particularly Graham Murray for guiding me and supporting me, and also putting up with me on a near daily basis. So thank you very much.
So our next award is for the Mid or Senior Career Academic Researcher of the Year. And this award recognises the same attributes as the Early Career Researcher, but this time at a more senior level. Is that person really killing it? Are they achieving the potential that was noticed in them when they were younger? To present this award, please welcome the one and only Professor Sir Michael Marmot, Professor of Epidemiology at University College London.
I have an obsession. Where do you go for help when you have an obsession? To psychiatrists. My obsession is health inequalities and the social determinants of health. And the Royal College of Psychiatrists has become my great ally. So I'm really grateful. I was talking about my obsession recently at the Health Committee of the European Parliament. And a German MEP from the AfD, I can't say it in German, but you know, the Alternative für Deutschland, said after my talk, this is just politics. You've got no evidence for any of this. You're pretending it's scientific, but it's just politics. My response, I won't go into all the detail, was that evidence is absolutely crucial to everything we do. And this award is celebrating two psychiatrists where evidence and the production of evidence is fundamental to what they do. And it's fundamental to what all of us do. So it's an absolute delight to present the award. The shortlist, Robert McCutcheon, the nomination says that he comes from an up-and-coming university, Oxford. And Tom Pollock's nomination doesn't mention his university, so it must be the Institute of Psychiatry. And the winner is Robert McCutcheon.
So unfortunately, Dr. McCutcheon isn't able to join us today, but he's very lucky because Dr. Samir Jauhar has agreed to collect the award on his behalf. And just to say that Rob McCutcheon is an associate professor and consultant psychiatrist at University of Oxford, as we've heard. His research investigates both how to use existing treatments more effectively, but also how to develop new treatments for people with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia. And the panel were particularly impressed by the substantial impact of Dr. McCutcheon's research, including through his work on digital prescribing, clinical service design, and mentorship. Over to Samir.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm trying to get rid of it.
You can,
Yeah.
you can give me whatever you want. You're Sir Michael Marmot. It's fine. and if Rob was here, he'd be humbled to have someone who's just done such great work over decades. Great you can be at the college. I'm going to be short, you'll be thankful to know, laddie. John Kane says that science is failure, and he's right. But we need an empirical basis to what we do. Rob's probably the antithesis of that, and it's great to see Robin Murray in the audience and to see that, you know, he's getting acknowledged for what he's done, because Rob's got a lot of those qualities. It's okay to have intellect, but when you put that together with compassion, kindness, and humility, well, you're onto something. I've worked with Rob for about 15 years at the IOP. He's moved on to Oxford. And what's lovely is if you met him, you'd never know about any of his achievements. Achievements are very clear, and the metrics in academia are clear. Huge H-index, publishes in good journals, good quality stuff that gets replicated across all disciplines, be it neuroimaging, clinical, even genetics. Anything he turns his hand to essentially turns to gold, but he never makes a big deal of it, and it's really annoying. You know, to be honest, him and Toby Pillinger, you could describe them as the Lennon and McCartney of psychiatry at the moment. My wife pointed out that probably makes me Ringo, but no comment. But essentially, it's lovely that this gets acknowledged for Rob. He would never have put himself forward. And I think it's those qualities, because anyone can sit and spend a lot of time doing your research, and it makes some of us not very pleasant people at times when we're irritable and sleep deprived. But he does it with a sense of compassion, serenity. And if we had more Rob McCutcheons, we'd almost be batting as high as Sir Michael Marmot. So thank you for your time, folks.
So the next award is for Specialty and Associate Specialist, that's SAS Doctor of the Year. And in this category, the judges were looking for a specialty doctor who has demonstrated an exceptional level of performance in clinical work, education, leadership and management, research and innovation, as well as working towards establishing parity of esteem between mental and physical health. That's just to say that they were looking for a lot more than they do from everybody else, because our SAS doctors basically run our services. They are 25% and they are the backbone. And to present this award, we welcome another star, Professor Kevin Fenton. And you will remember Professor Fenton from COVID. He is a senior public health expert and infectious disease epidemiologist and immediate past president of the Faculty of Public Health.
Thank you, Lade, and good afternoon, everyone. As Lade has said, SASC doctors run the NHS. They are often unseen, but they are felt. They are felt by those of us who receive their services. They're felt by us who are leading services for their advocacy to better the lives and conditions of SASC doctors across all specialties. And they're seen and felt by the patients that they serve every day. So it's a real honor to be able to list the nominees for this award. We have 3, Dr. Angela Misra, Dr. Nudrat Rizvi, and Dr. Janasi Sekolu. And the winner is Dr. Nudrat Rizvi.
So Dr. Nudrat Rizvi champions inclusion and transformative care. She leads the Invisible in Plain Sight initiative, driving preventative rather than reactive care, whilst her leadership in the CSER and CASC teaching inspires and empowers SASC colleagues across the NHS. And the judges said that the breadth of high calibre work that Dr. Rizvi is truly impressive. Her pioneering work around improving the care of neurodiverse patients is transformative and impactful, and her leadership in supporting other SASC doctors in her Trust CSER programme is inspiring. Her love and passion for the profession were very evident, and Dr. Rizvi is an extremely valuable asset to her organisation and profession. Thank you.
Growing up in Karachi, Pakistan, I remember reading a chapter on life of founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam, and reading that after initial education in Karachi, Quaid-e-Azam went England for higher education. Excited me, I blotted, I will too go England for higher education. And a friend reminded that, too sad, we won't be able to see that because that's going to happen in your dream. Because unlike Quaid-e-Azam, I was neither rich nor a male. I came home that day, I informed my dad that, I was teased this way. My father, he smiled and he said, that's fine, but when my daughter will get the high award, they will all see. Too sad that I lost my father too soon, but thank you, RCPsych, for bringing to life a long-lost dream. And I'm deeply grateful. I would thank my mom after my father, who was my mom and my father. Thank you so much. I'm deeply grateful for my family, my sibling, my amazing husband, my wonderful children who asked me to wave them if I get to come on stage. I'm very thankful to my supervisor, my mentor, my work besties, my amazing colleagues, my CAMS team, my ADHD team, my neurodevelopmental team. Working in CAMS, I have the privilege and the pain of having the first-hand experience how our early life experiences reflect on our future, how they form our future. We need to do more for our children, especially our children with neurodevelopmental differences, who often come to our attention once they are in crisis, a crisis that is preventable with early support, compassionate support and inclusion, and also our children who are going through developmental trauma, who are going through trauma of being in pain, being in hunger, in fear, who are witnessing the horrors of genocide, who are witnessing the horrors of ethnic cleansing. Because being global leaders, it's our moral responsibility of care for those who are not left with healthcare system and speak for those who have no voice. I thank you all.
Okay, so now we come to the award for Psychiatrist of the Year. Now, this is a very special award. I say that because you get this award and then you become president. Anyway, I once won this. Anyway, the judges were looking for a psychiatrist who'd made a positive impact on patients and carers' well-being, raised the positive image of psychiatry, and worked towards achieving parity of esteem between mental and physical health. I need to tell you that we had loads of nominations for this. I mean, we had a lot of nominations for all the other awards, but it was amazing how many people were nominated, which I think is testament to the incredible work that psychiatrists are doing across the country and internationally as well. To present this award, we welcome another famous. Oh, this is really good, actually. Well, I know what we're going to do next year, but it's not me next year. I don't have to worry about that. But anyway, so we have another incredible talent and very special person, Jo Brand. So for those who don't know, Jo was once a former psychiatric nurse at the Maudsley, and she's now one of Britain's best-loved comedians. She's an honorary fellow at the college, and she's been a dedicated supporter of our Choose Psychiatry campaign, so thank you very much for that, Jo.
Thanks. I think best loved is going a bit far, but anyway, maybe 20 years ago. Anyway, hello. I'm delighted to be here today, and as I've been sitting here for a couple of hours thinking, could do with the wee, I've also felt my brain gradually shrinking down to the size of a pea, because you people are just so incredible and bright. I'm not being patronising here, but I hardly understood a word of it. No, that's not quite true. And I must say, I miss the Maudsley a lot. I haven't worked there since 1988. And so, as you can imagine, things were so different then. You would be shocked if you perhaps can visualise the nurses sitting around in the nurse's office, all having a cigarette on a Sunday morning. Raising a glass. No, we didn't do that. But yeah, so I think things have really changed since I was there. But I don't think the spirit has changed at all. And I can see it and feel it here in this room. And as I say, I was delighted to be invited along today. And I drive everywhere, even in London. And I just want to show off very briefly about 20 years ago, I got my international rally driving license, and I can reassure you that really, really helps driving in London. And also there's the added frisson, of course, of finding a parking space, which is always fun. And I have to say that I am the driver in my family. My husband never learnt to drive, in my opinion. And that's not fair, is it? You've all been so lovely about your other halves today. I feel guilty. I have to say, he is the stalwart in our family. He does the work of two men. Unfortunately, those men are Laurel and Hardy, but we'll gloss over that. Now, and also, can I just say this is one of the loveliest awards ceremonies I've been to for a very long time. First of all, you all appear to be sober after 20 minutes, which is, I commend you for that. And you're so polite as well. I mean, every award I go to, people start talking after about 20 minutes because they're drinking and they're kind of bored. And this has been one of the most interesting things I've been to kind of for a very long time. And the only problem I have with awards, and I really don't go very often, is waiting to see what the press says about me as I arrive, right? And my favourite one ever, I think, was I went to the BAFTAs and the Daily Mail described my outfit as billowing. And I hadn't realised I was the lead galleon in the Spanish Armada, but I was very, very proud. Like, I'm not going to blar on all afternoon because we have been here a long time. So I'm honoured to be to be presenting this award. I really am. And I realise very unprofessionally I'm making the microphone pop as well. So I haven't learnt that in 30 years either. Okay, here we go. The shortlisted nominees are Dr. Emily Finch, Dr. Ranjit Shah, and Dr. John Van Niekerk. Oh. And Psychiatrist of the Year is Dr. Emily Finch.
So Dr. Finch is an addiction psychiatrist who spent her career advocating for addiction services and their users, who are some of the most stigmatised patients in the system. And in fact, over the last 15 years, addiction psychiatry has been decimated. And Emily has been working so hard to make a difference to that over the past few years. The judges said that Dr. Finch's nomination stood out from the rest with her multifaceted contributions in the often neglected field of addiction psychiatry. Emily is a compassionate and highly respected leader in psychiatry. She is admired for her advocacy for the most vulnerable and stigmatised people in society, and her national contributions to addiction policy and training, her dedication as a clinician, colleague, and mentor are remarkable.
Thank you very much, Lade, and thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone, and thank you to the college for giving me this award. Thank you to Derek, who kindly nominated me. I was very, very surprised that I got shortlisted for this award. So I haven't got a particularly well-prepared speech. However, I'd just like to thank all the colleagues I've worked with and continue to work with. If I am Psychiatrist of the Year 2025, it's because of those colleagues, particularly my colleagues from SLAM and my addiction psychiatry colleagues, who are a dedicated bunch of people who fight for the addiction patients, who are a client group who have been particularly neglected over the past few years. So if there's anything I'd like to continue doing, it's advocating for clients, advocating for our client group, making sure that their services don't literally just get cut because the government decides they're just not worth providing for and they're not worth treating. So I'm going to continue doing that. And finally, I'd like to thank my family, because it seems to be the thing to do. My husband, Andrew's here, who I think we've also been together for 32 years. There's a lot of 32 years around, I think. And he has tolerated me and supported me in all the work I've done. There's my children, Connie and Arthur, who I think are at the moment neglecting their jobs and watching this on the live stream. So I did promise them I'd mention them. And to my wider family, who are all wonderfully supportive and have allowed me to continue this lovely career with as much support as possible. Thank you.
Okay, so we are now towards the end, but we've got one very final, very important thing to do. And our final award is the RCPsych, the Royal College of Psychiatrists Lifetime Achievement Award for 2025. And that is to be presented to Professor Sir Robin Murray. So we're going to have a little look at why it is that we're presenting this to Robin Murray and what he's done. We've got a film.
Well, I first met Robin when he interviewed me for a job, a research assistant job, many, many, many moons ago. And he actually offered it to me, and I very foolishly turned it down because I wasn't quite aware of who he was at the time. But anyway, it's turned out well, and he has forgiven me. But probably the most salient memories I have of him in the kind of early days was being in the canteen when you were having lunch, and he would come and sit with you. And that was even just as a PhD student. He would come and sit with you and discuss, what you were doing and, what your interests were, and he always had time to basically be interested in what you had to say about psychosis.
I must have first met Robin in spring 1987 at the interview for the Maudsley training scheme, and he and Robin Jacobi were my interviewers, and I remember them both very vividly. Robin, we had a good conversation about research, and he and Shone Lewis and Mike Owen at that time and others, they were interested in neurodevelopment and schizophrenia. And in the conversation, I was desperately dredging up memories of that undergraduate degree and talking about neurodevelopment. Anyway, it seemed to go well, and Robin was actually my first supervisor and has really been a mentor for me clinically and academically ever since. That's a long time now.
I remember, well, that must be at least 20, maybe even 25 years ago, when I was a young PhD student visiting Institute of Psychiatry in London, which was a big event for me at the time. And I remember Robin being like a father figure, not only for his own PhDs, but actually for all PhDs visiting the Institute, which was a really remarkable happening, which was not normal at that time. So people were quite different at that time, and I think we were approaching PhD students quite different from the way we do now.
It's not really one thing with Robin. It's just his just essential Robinness, if you like. I mean, there's no one really like him. He's this world-renowned figure, and yet one of the first things he said to me was, "Call me Robin," you know. And coming from Ireland, we were so used to saying Professor this and Professor that, and he was saying, "No, just call me Robin." It took me about a year, but eventually I got there. So, and it was just he's always been. I suppose the thing about Robin is his incredible enthusiasm for research, for psychosis. He has this unstoppable enthusiasm for finding out what are the causes of schizophrenia and psychosis. How can we make lives better for people with psychosis? How can we prevent psychosis? And it's this amazing focus on this one question all his life for his incredible career has just been, it's so admirable.
So my earliest memory was that I was visiting the Bethlehem Royal Hospital, and I was attending a ward round of Robin's, and I remember him telling off the registrar for not doing his work properly and not presenting properly because it should be in a certain order and using certain formulations. This was very instructive, so helped me learn how to work with Robin. Initially, he was a lot more strict at that time.
I think what Robin is unique in is his real enjoyment of nurturing young researchers, and that has been, to my mind, his biggest heritage. There are just so many of us around the globe now who just have so much to thank him for in terms of his genuine interest in us, but also interest in us doing good science.
Very sadly, the canteen, the long-term canteen staff were basically being made to retire. This was Sadie and Maureen. And we had a celebration for them in the canteen. And Robin stood on a table and paid homage to them. But I clearly remember that he said, "The Institute has many brains, but it only has one heart, the canteen." And I've always remembered that because that really spoke to his values.
His legacy has to be people, I think, or part of his legacy has to be people.
I think his legacy really will be the people that he has trained.
The way he has mentored a huge group of young and also older scholars.
I think his legacy, that he is and will be remembered as, I think, the great storyteller and the great motivator and the great connector.
Well, congratulations, Robin. You're a thoroughly deserving recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. I cannot think of anyone more appropriate. You've given a lot to me and to many other people,
in psychiatry, and I wish you all the very best. I hope you have a fantastic occasion today.
Keep on doing what you're doing, and thank you so much for what you've done for the field and for personal careers of so many people, and wonderful that you're still going that strong and that you're still this active in the field. It's much appreciated.
But I would just like to thank you, Robin, from my very heart for all that you have done for me and for the field and for people.
Just to say thank you, Robin, and keep being such an inspiration, all through your life. I think you, by your continuing enthusiasm and focus, in fact you're still working, makes us all still feel young and still feel we need to carry on. And we always know you're there at the end of the email, at the end of the phone, you're there at a conference to help out. You're still with us all, and no one who has passed through your department has ever forgotten you. And I think you've been such an important person. I don't know of anyone else who has been more deserving of a Lifetime Achievement Award, because it really has been a lifetime's achievement for you. You are the David Attenborough of psychosis research. Thank you so much.
Obviously, a massive well done to you, Robin, for the exceptional achievements that you've had over your career, and in terms of the research impact in the field of psychosis. But also thank you for being so approachable and always showing an interest in other people, and for all of the kindness that you've shown your patients and me and many, many others over the years. And one last thing, keep wearing the funky hats.
Okay, so to present the Lifetime Achievement Award for 2025, I'm delighted to welcome Lord John Allardyce, who's a member of the House of Lords and a previous recipient of this award, because John is actually a psychiatrist as well. So I need to tell you that when we were thinking about who was going to get this award, and it's really hard, you sort of think, oh, who's done really well over their lifetime? And when we go through people and we look at them and say, well, they'll have an award, but they got it last year, they got it 5 years ago. And of course, we all assumed that Professor Sir Robin Murray had the award. And then we looked and we thought, oh my goodness, Robin has never received this award. How can that be? Now, especially because I happen to be I'm also someone who was very happy to say that Robin supervised me when I was doing my research degree. And everything that people have said on that film is true, actually. And it's been true the whole way through. He's an incredibly approachable person. He doesn't have to be nice. And someone on the film said, you didn't have to be nice in those days. That's true, he really didn't. And I think Samir mentioned it as well. Academics are sometimes mean to everybody, actually, not just, to other academics. And Robin was the opposite of that. He was welcoming, he nurtured people. And I'll tell you a little bit later about, what that results in. And it's resulted in a family of people across the world who all admire and thank Robin for everything he's done. So Robin, please come to the stage and accept your award.
Friends, colleagues, dear laddie, Robin, it's a great pleasure and an honour, a genuine honour for me to be able to present this award to you. I graduated in medicine in 1978 and went into psychiatry in 1979. And that was the year when George Fenton came back from the Maudsley to Belfast to be the Professor of Mental Health. Well, he had previously also worked in Scotland. And so the two great texts that he insisted that the youngsters like me studied was the companion to psychiatric studies, the Edinburgh group had their second edition published in 1978. It was Forrest, Affleck, and Zile. But in 1979, Essentials in Postgraduate Psychiatry was published. Yourself, and Peter Hill, and Anthony Thorley. And so already I was realizing that Robin Murray was what in Scottish terms one would describe as one of the great high hegions of psychiatry. And I want to say that to you because I want you to realize that's almost 50 years ago. He was already recognized as a leading psychiatrist, not just in our own country and countries, but right around the world, and was already educating another generation. It was an extraordinary achievement in itself. And not just year after year, but decade after decade since then, you've continued to research, to do clinical work, to inspire people, to teach, and as we've heard, not just in the prepared presentations on the video, but in the spontaneous remarks of colleagues today, mentoring people. That is to say, not just teaching them and instructing them, but putting your arm around them and bringing them along with you. And that changes lives, because it changes the lives of those who you have mentored, and that affects the lives of all the people they live with and work with. For me, Robin, Sir Robin, it is a genuine privilege to present this award to you. You have been an inspiration to me, as well as many other colleagues all around the world. Well done.
One of the things I think we as psychiatrists haven't done so well has been to influence the public. So it's great to have with us Lord Allardyce and Michael Marnott, who are people who really have done a lot, both for medicine, but also for the poor and the disadvantaged. And I think one of the privileges of working in South London has been that it's that one sees many such patients who have had a difficult life. Laddie was surprised that I hadn't received this award before, but it was really because I was too young. And if I've had a talent, it has been to choose colleagues who are more able than me, and colleagues who are willing to lie for me, as you could see on the videos. I was actually, my wife, who's a psychiatrist, Marta De Forti, is here, and my son, Graham, who's also a professor of psychiatry, Emmanuel, already thanked. And Graham was trying to explain to his daughter, my granddaughter, that Grandpa was getting an award for lifetime achievement. And she was puzzled by this, but eventually said, "Is it because he's the oldest living psychiatrist?" And there is some truth in this, because many of these awards have been very competitive. But my one was not competitive because I have outlived my competitors. As you get older, and I'm lucky, I'm still able to see patients and even to be paid a bit by the Institute of Psychiatry. But as you get older, you begin to wonder, are you beginning to lose some faculties and not? And so occasionally you see some contemporaries saying really daft things. And so I spoke to one of my colleagues and said, you know, as we get older, sometimes we think we're still academics who can still write papers and so on. I said, if I start writing nonsense, would you let me know? And he said, looked at me up and down and said, how would I tell the difference of the nonsense you've always written? So Charlotte mentioned how stigma seems to have been disappearing, and certainly through COVID, people talk about psychiatry and psychology and mental health in admiring terms. When I started, and when many of you started, psychiatry was quite stigmatized. I first encountered this when I went to a grammar school in Edinburgh, which had a little boarding house attached to it, and because I lived up in the hills, I went to lived in the boarding house. And when I was 16, the housemaster and his wife took 6 of us who were in the senior year and asked us what we wanted to do. And one said he wanted to be a vet, and that was terrific. And another said he wanted to be a dentist. One was going to join the army. And it came to me, and I said, we'd like to be a psychiatrist. And there was a sort of hush. And then the housemaster's wife said, "But Robin, your parents are such normal people." Yeah. So I only wish that she could look down now and see that it didn't turn out too badly. So finally, I have very many people to thank. I would like to thank the late Douglas Bennett, who was a very important community psychiatrist, but more personal to me, he treated me when I was depressed as a young psychiatrist. And sometimes patients or user groups thinks that users and mental health workers are separate, but many of us intermingle. There are many other people to thank, family, patients, colleagues, but it's very late in the day, so I'll stop at that and say what a great privilege it is to receive this award in front of so many friends and colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, so now's the time where I get to ask Robin a few questions. And I looked at Robin's biog. I think Robin wrote this, actually. So it says, Robin Murray is Professor of Psychiatric Research, spent most of his working life at the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology and Neuroscience, apart from 1 year at NIMH in the USA. His particular interest is psychosis, and he was one of the first to suggest that schizophrenia was in part a neurodevelopmental disorder. And he and his colleagues have contributed to the understanding that environmental factors such as obstetric events, drug abuse, and social adversity dysregulate striatal dopamine and thus increase the risk of psychosis. And as we know, he cares for people with psychosis at the South London and Maudsley NHS Trust. He's written over 800 articles. He says not all of them boring. They're very good articles. And he's the most frequently cited psychosis researcher outside the USA, I think probably ever, actually. He's supervised 83 PhDs, 13 MD theses, one was mine, and 45 of his students have become full professors. And he was elected Fellow with the Royal Society in 2010 and received a knighthood in 2011. So the question is, what next?
Well, I thought about this actually because when you get a lifetime award, you sort of feel they think that's it. But I'm only willing to accept half of it. I'll come back in 10 years for the other half.
Excellent, excellent. So, Robin, you have done incredible things, and you have nurtured so many people. And one of the questions I have is, how have you managed to sustain that over these years? And what advice would you give to all of us here, as not just the psychiatrists, but the non-psychiatrists and everybody else, but particularly the doctors, about how we can support other people in the way that you have, so that we actually make things better for our patients?
Oh, I think that is quite easy. That I have always found that I have learned from my colleagues and particularly younger colleagues, because when you get to be sort of an established figure, you begin to believe all the stuff in the textbooks, especially if you've written them. And then when you meet younger colleagues, well, you mentioned neurodevelopment. I'm often credited with suggesting that neurodevelopmental factors were important in schizophrenia, but it actually was my then registrar or CT, Sean Lewis, who kept saying to me, do you not think it could be developmental? I said, no, that's it. And eventually he won me round. Or I can think of Mary Cannon, who we just heard, saying epidemiology is the future. And I would say, no, it's brain imaging and genetics and high tech. And I think it's not rocket science. It's that young people are naive, and they're able to look at questions with an open mind. Whereas as we get older, we get a bit into tramlines. So I've not mentored young people for their benefit. I've done it for mine.
So what I'm wondering about is this, and particularly, as in my current role as president, what should we be focusing on in psychiatry? What should we be thinking about going forward?
Well, I think it's a very exciting time. And I mean, there have been huge developments in neuroscience. They haven't quite percolated through, but I think they're beginning to percolate through. But at the same time, I think there are epidemiology and so the role of... Well, when I started in psychiatry, there was a huge gap between the biologists and the analysts. And of course, case ground rounds, which we have at Maudsley, are much more exciting in these days, because one expert would say what this person needs is 4 courses of ECT. And another one said, no, there's nothing wrong, he needs to be psychoanalyzed. And then there'd be a huge fight. And we did a study in 1976 when we surveyed all the junior and senior psychiatrists at the Maudsley in questionnaires to identify were they a biological psychiatrist, an analyst, a social psychiatrist, or a behavior therapist. And they all split onto these sort of 4 quadrants. Some colleagues repeated it in 2012, and it was hopeless. Everybody was in the middle. And because now we have data. In these days, you could have prejudice, and you just stuck to your prejudices. Now it's more difficult. You have to follow the evidence. And of course, I noticed today.
Sorry. Can you play this one, please?
Shall I start from the beginning? I noticed today that one of my first students, actually, first people I taught, partly the person I taught, who was in this room first, was Jo Brand, because I remember teaching her when she was a nursing student. And at that time, I was intent on teaching people that schizophrenia was a genetic brain disease. And she was very difficult, and she kept objecting and saying, are there social factors important? I said, no, it's not. And of course, she was quite right, that now we know that social factors are very important. In these days, we didn't know that. I think by the time you were a student, I was more sensible and open-minded, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to ask if there's anyone in the audience who's got a burning question, because I get to speak to Robin, actually. And I want to know, you'll have to put your hand up very quickly, actually, because there'll be lots of people. Right, Ashish.
I wanted to ask you, of course, in your time, child psychiatry was not so developed. This is your time too. So any messages for child psychiatrists in particular?
Any messages for child psychiatrists?
Well, grow up. No. But I think you have grown up, because I think child psychiatry was a science-free subject when I was young, and I guess Michael Rutter was one of the first people to put it and now academic child psychiatry and the research and of course now we know that so many adult psychiatric disorders have their origins in deviance and difficulties in childhood, and therefore if we were, how can you expect people who are born and brought up in some of the terrible inner cities that we had and subject to the deprivation and poverty and poor education and so on, how can you expect them to turn up to be well-rounded adults? I'm going to come back to what Michael Meacher has advocated. We have to point out that many of the problems we see are a consequence of the social inequality in our society.
Thank you. Anybody else got a question for Robin? There's a question over here. We've got a microphone now, actually.
So my question for you is, obviously you've achieved so many things, right? And everyone in this room is trying to achieve things. When do you think you know you've achieved enough?
Good. What an excellent question.
Well, I don't think one should think that one's out to achieve things. Well, as a researcher, it's like being a detective. You want to achieve the answer. And I've been very lucky that the answer in schizophrenia and psychosis would be very difficult to find. So, I mean, if I had decided to be a tuberculosis physician when I was young, it would have been hopeless because it's all been treated and mostly gone away. But the other good thing about psychiatry is it moves quite slowly. So if I was in molecular biology, I would have no idea what my younger colleagues were talking about now. But in psychiatry, I can still have some of the same arguments that I had, say, 40 or 50 years ago. We're getting nearer to resolving them. But I wouldn't think, I think setting out to achieve things is not the right way. Setting out to find out things which might be helpful to our patients.
So I think final question from me, and it's really to say, what do you think is the best thing that you've done in your life?
You mean professionally? Well, I haven't done it enough, but I think it's easy to get swept along by the fashion of the times. And I mean, when I think the number of hundreds, maybe thousands of hours I've wasted looking at structural brain scans, because that seemed to be the technology of the day. I think it's if one can, it's good to be slightly contrarian and go in a slightly different direction. And it's good to get involved in academic or clinical arguments, because people remember arguments. And when you're putting two different points of view, it's very important to keep on reasonable terms and be polite to whoever you're arguing with. And on that regard, I think one of the biggest deficiencies that we have, and you're actually very good at this, not at the deficiencies, at the overcoming the deficiencies, is better relationship with our customers. Because I think it's sad when you see some of the disputes that go on Twitter. And I've actually given up, well, on X, following them because of disputes. I think we have a lot of critics, and there are a lot of people who have had a bad time in psychiatry, and it's very reasonable that they should be critical of us and just arguing furiously. I think if we're discussing with anti-psychiatrists or people who are more skeptical of us, we should try and hope that at the end of the discussion they have a slightly better impression of psychiatry than they started out with at the beginning of the discussion, rather than retreating back into our bunkers saying psychiatry is right and you're talking nonsense. I think things are improving in this regard.
Okay, so I think we shall stop there, and it really just leaves me to say thank you to Professor Sir Robin Murray, who has done so much for so many people, not just the individuals who had the privilege and honour of working with him, but also everybody else who he has helped, directly as a psychiatrist and a doctor, but also through all the other people that you have mentored and nurtured. And you are one of the most worthy recipients of this award. Thank you. So actually, there are drinks downstairs. So if you don't feel like being sober anymore, you know, and we welcome you all to stay. And if you know, there'll be people around, you can take some photos for those of. And actually, just to say, if you're a nominee and you would like to have your photograph taken, don't forget, number one, you've got a certificate. Don't go home without it. And we would love to take your photograph if you're here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sure you had a lot to do with putting my name forward, so it's very good.
Well, thanks, William. Thank you.
So, you don't work with a lot of time to